Alright guys, so today I'm going to go ahead and take a look at all the options the Bengals have to go with at quarterback now that Joe Burrow is out for the season. Took a day to calm down, relax, and kind of think things through, and while it's not going to be easy, let's be honest, it is what it is, right? We have to move forward. We're currently 5-5 in this season. And while I would say, okay, well, then just start losing games and get a better draft pick and maybe take someone high in the draft, that's just not how they're going to work, right? That's just not how they're going to do things because the coaches don't want to lose games, the players don't want to lose games. And to be honest, they still believe this team could be a playoff team, a Super Bowl team. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if we use one of the options we have today, well, I'm about to list, that we actually go win a Super Bowl with, this is going to be a very interesting question with Joe Burrow. So, our immediate answer, or theory, is go with Jake Browning. Jake Browning has had two NFL games where he's actually played in. He played in Week 1 versus the Browns when, obviously we got destroyed. And then he played in yesterday's game, or Sunday's game, when we lost to the Baltimore Ravens because Joe Burrow went down with an injury. So his NFL experience is very, very little to almost none. Now, he has been on the practice squad of the Cincinnati Bengals now for 3 seasons. He has learned underneath of Brian Callahan for 3 seasons. He has very good connection and timing with Trent Irwin. We saw that in the game, obviously, last week. You got to keep in mind that he has played most of his time snaps with the second team of the Cincinnati Bengals. Therefore, second team receivers like Yoshi, like Chuck Sizzle, like Trent Irwin got a lot of snaps with him. Tanner Hudson also got a lot of snaps with him because of the fact that, he's gotten a lot of second team snaps. So right now I would say in the best aspect of, straight up player who can have timing down, Jake Browning has the most timing down with all of our players, except for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. He probably didn't have much time down with those guys. He did practice with them in the preseason, though, so he has some timing. But the best he has is Trent Irwin, Stanley Morgan, all those second-team guys. He has the best thing when it comes to that. Jake Browning gives us probably the most mobile upside of any option we have available today. We saw on Sunday, he was able to get out of the pocket, move around the pocket, and take off running. Something he did in preseason too, and it's also something he did in this, on Sunday. Next one I will say is that he doesn't have, what he lacks in his issues are obviously his accuracy. It's his accuracy and his I say knowledge of the game, but his experience of the game. And that's definitely going to be one that hinders him a lot. And we'll see how they kind of go with him. The next option is probably the option I feel like they're going to go toward. And it's going to be toward the immediate future, right? Obviously, could they go with someone else in the long term? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, Carson Wentz, he signed with the Rams, so he's not available, right? There's a lot of guys. Will Grier, obviously we had him, and then he left us because the Patriots signed him. Now he's the Patriots starting quarterback. He's not here. We can't go with him, right? So there's a lot of options we could have gone with that simply no longer exists on the, on the sheet of options, right? AJ McCarron is on our practice squad, and he is the immediate, guy to kind of talk about and look at. Now, AJ McCarron has never played for the Bengals under Brian Callahan. That is something to take in consideration. He obviously has played for Cincinnati Bengals before, so he does know the system that Bengals run, but he does not know Brian Callahan's system. He also has zero timing with Jamar Chase, but he does have timing with Tyler Boyd, and he also has no time with T. Higgins either. He has timing with Tyler Boyd, and that's pretty much it, actually. So it's going to be an interesting set of events if he does, show up, if we do go ahead and put him in. Keep in mind, he has been on our practice squad most of this year so far, though. I'd say, the last 3 or 4 weeks. So that's definitely a plus because he's gotten, timing down with a lot of different players we have on our roster. I will say, though, he has been mainly getting second team, third team snaps, meaning he's not getting, time with Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. He's getting play time with players like Trent Irwin, like, Yoshi, like Chuck Sizzle, Stanley Morgan, Cedric Jackson, those guys, right? So he definitely has more connection, but I will say he's pretty much in the same boat here, if not worse than Jake Browning when it comes to connection and timing with those players, because he simply has not played, that long. Jake Browning has a lot more experience with those guys, especially because, again, some of those guys are newer. So he's had a lot more experience than A.J. McCarron has, but it does not mean that A.J. McCarron cannot learn or get really good with, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Let's be honest, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are the best receivers in the NFL. So when it comes down to it, it's like, they kind of make the quarterback look good, let's be honest. So this is the second option. Now, obviously, again, I said, yes, he did play for the Bengals 2015, 16, and 17, which is awesome. He definitely has some experience with us. He almost won a playoff game with us. I'll content the fact that he did not win a playoff game with us, even though I don't like the idea of saying that. But anyway, he has, obviously, Jeremy Hill fumbled the ball, okay? Did he lose that game? No. Did Jeremy Hill lose that game because he fumbled? Yes. Beside the point. I digress from that statement. Nonetheless, though, he is probably the best option we have on the roster at this moment in time, practice squad and active roster. So if we are going to go with someone immediately, it would probably be him. And, I'm not saying Jake Browning isn't a good option. I think Jake Browning has the potential to be a good option, right? Last Sunday, what we saw from Jake Browning was he connected a lot of difficult passes to Trent Irwin. He did over-target Trent Irwin, too. And the reason why was, obvious case, he's had a lot of experience throwing to him, right? Isn't that amazing? Experience throwing to Trent Irwin. In practice, he's going to target Trent Irwin heavily. Now, of course, keep in mind, though, that he did almost connect to Jamar Chase on a deep pass to the left-hand side, and that was going to be a 40-50 yard gain, but Chase could not keep his feet in bounds. So just keep that in mind. Like, again, obviously Jake Browning, not much NFL experience, but I talked about this earlier in a video about RG3 versus DTR. And DTR, by the way, if you don't know, is, of course, the rookie for the Browns, Robinson. So what I said is that potential levels, right? So every player has a floor, a ceiling, and then they have a negative side, right? A.J. McCarron, his floor, I believe, is either a little bit below a game manager. He hasn't played in the NFL in a little bit of time. He doesn't have, the NFL experience as much as, other quarterbacks do who have played in the NFL recently. Don't get me wrong, he has played back in 2020, but he started 0 games, played 2 games, so he never really got on the field there. And the last time he really got on the field as a starter was 2019. So when it comes to his floor, I say he's below a game manager. I say Jake Browning and him, they're equal at below a game manager. Now the potential, so that's the ceiling for A.J. McCarron, is through the roof, right? He could come in and relive his career and be amazing. Could be great. Could be insanely amazing, right? And I think his negative side is probably 1 or 2 interceptions a game. And just it has a 200-yard game. 150-yard game, right? That's his negative side. Jake Browning, his floor, I say, is right around below a game manager. His ceiling is Hall of Fame. And I know that's something funny to say that, but it actually is, because we physically do not know what we have in the guy, right? We physically do not know how good he could be, right? He's never got an opportunity. So, I think I would say every player has a Hall of Fame potential. But I'm going to say that in the context of the offense he's running, with the receivers he has, right? With everything, if it works perfect, he has the potential of Hall of Fame. Because he could go win a Super Bowl. Not Hall of Fame. I'm exaggerating the Hall of Fame. But my point is, he has the potential to be one of the best, right? In the perfect situation. Now, keep in mind, Nick Foles with the Eagles, when they won the Super Bowl, was in that very same situation. I'm not comparing Nick Foles to Jake Browning. My point is, the potential he has is up there because of that. The floor, again, you already know. Now the negative. Jake Browning has the worst negative. Thank you, NFL, for randomly doing ad right there. Jake Browning has more negative than any other option we have, right? Because at the end of the day, he doesn't have the NFL experience. So he could easily flop and mess up and throw 4 interceptions and lose 300 yards and be an absolute, awful option at quarterback. A.J. McCarron, the NFL experience he does have with us and obviously with other teams, gives him that upside, right? He's ran multiple playbooks. He knows our playbook. Both of these quarterbacks know our playbook now because they've both been in our system for a little bit of time. That's the options there. Now, those are the media options they could just sign right to the active roster and be fine. Let's talk about free agent options, right? Free agent options, I'll be honest with you, there's not many good ones. Okay, we're going to be in a realistic world here. I know I just said Jake Browning could be a Hall of Famer. But Matt Ryan is not an option. Tom Brady's not an option. Colt McCoy is not an option. Joe Flacco actually just visited with the Browns. I don't think he signed with them, so he's technically an option. Nick Foles, I don't think is an option. Chase Daniels is not an option. Travis Simeon is on another team. He actually signed with, I think, was not the Broncos. He signed with one team. I forget who he signed with. Brett is an option. Will Grier is not an option. He signed with the Patriots. He's actually could be the starting quarterback. John Wolford is option. Trace McSorley is an option. Bryce Perkins is an option. Matt Barkley. Out of all these options, right? This is why again I've said so many times we should have went and got Cooper Rush. But again, everything is 2020 at this point. You can't really go back and change what happened. It is what it is. Looking at all these options in front of us here, though, the best option is probably Joe Flacco, and that's the sad part. I mean, Trace McSorley might be up there as an option. Joe Flacco is probably the second best option. Or he's probably the best option. Trace McSorley is the second best option. And outside of that, there's really no good option here. So it's like, if you're the Bengals here, and you have a scenario where you're like, okay, what do we do? We have A.J. McCarron, who's been playing in our system, right, for 3 or 4 weeks processing. He doesn't really have much timing down with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, that's pretty, Tyler Boyd. That's number 1. Number 2, Jake Browning. Jake Browning has experience playing with all of our guys except for, again, the top players. So the question is, who's a better option of those two? One has NFL experience, one has 0 NFL experience, but did display all last game and actually looked pretty good. I think you got to go A.J. McCarron. And again, like I said, you got to go A.J. McCarron, and I got to say it like this. It's A.J. McCarron's job until he loses it. And I think that's really what you got to go with. Because I would say that same concept with Jake Browning. I just feel like at this time in this matter, you have a more consistent upside, I will say, with A.J. McCarron. I know I said they both floor the same exact thing, but I think the upside of A.J. McCarron is an actual startable quarterback who can go down the field and play good football. And I think Jake Browning is just going to be too inconsistent. Me personally speaking. Again, like I said, this is my personal opinion. So I think go A.J. McCarron. But again, like I said, I know that's going to be controversial because some people love him and happy he's back. Some people are like, come on, man, we don't need A.J. McCarron. He didn't work out for us the first time. He is a hero. He is a hero for us in Cincinnati. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.